She stood at the gate, breathing fast. Her hands shook. Tears burned her eyes. The final boarding call had just ended. The doors were closed. Her flight, gone. A security guard walked past, not even glancing at her. She wanted to scream. People stared, some with pity, others with confusion, but no one really cared. She had missed her only flight to New York. Her job interview, the one she waited 2 years for, was gone. And why? Because she helped an old woman who could barely walk. A woman she didn't even know. Now she stood alone, a single suitcase beside her, a heart full of pain. She had done the right thing, but it felt like she was being punished. 20 minutes earlier, she had been just a few steps from the airport security line. Her ticket was ready. Her ID was in hand. Her dream job interview in New York was just hours away. She had worked hard for this, applied many times, got rejected again and again. But this time they called her. This time they said yes. She had practiced her answers, picked her best outfit, told her mother to pray for her. It was all set. But then she saw her, an old woman, alone, bent over, trying to pull a small bag with shaking hands. Every few steps she had to stop and catch her breath. People walked past like they couldn't see her, like she was invisible. That hurt. And then the old woman tripped. People gasped, but no one moved. She didn't even think. She ran to her, dropped her bag, helped the woman sit up, asked if she was okay, called for help. The old woman held her hand, crying softly. She said her flight was leaving in 10 minutes, said her daughter was waiting in another state. She said she hadn't traveled in years. She looked so scared, so weak. Her heart broke for her. So she helped her up, took her bag, walked slowly beside her. They moved as fast as the woman could, step by step. Every few feet they had to stop again. She checked her phone. Her own flight was closing soon, but she kept walking. When they reached the gate, the old woman's flight was still open. She handed her over to the gate agent, smiled, told her to go safe. The old woman hugged her. "You are my angel," she whispered. She turned and ran back to her own gate, but it was too late. They had closed the door. The plane was still there, sitting just outside the window, but the door was locked, and no one would open it for her. She begged, she cried, but the woman at the counter just said, "I'm sorry. The gate is closed." She stood there, frozen, watching the plane she was supposed to be on begin to move, slowly rolling away from the gate. Her legs felt weak. Her heart sank deeper with each turn of the wheels. She didn't move, couldn't move. Her mind was loud. Her body was still. This flight was everything. The job interview wasn't just an opportunity. It was her chance to escape struggle, to start over, to finally make her mother proud, to finally stop working double shifts at the diner, to leave behind the late rent notices, the sleepless nights, the hunger she sometimes hid behind smiles. And now, it was gone. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone. She called the company. No answer. She called again. Straight to voicemail. She sent an email, typed fast, begging them to understand, telling them she missed her flight for a good reason, that she would come tomorrow, that she would do anything. But deep inside, she knew. Big companies didn't wait for small people. She sat on the bench, eyes blank. She didn't even cry now. She just stared. Her stomach growled. She hadn't eaten. Her head hurt. She watched people walk past, busy with their own lives. Some were laughing, some were rushing. No one knew the pain she was sitting in. Then her phone rang. Her eyes lit up. She answered fast. "Hello?" But it was just her mom. "How's New York? Did you get there safe?" Her mom asked sweetly. She paused. For a moment, she thought about lying, saying yes, saying she made it. But the truth was too heavy. "I missed the flight, Mama." "What happened?" her mother asked, worry in her voice. She told her everything. Her mother was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "You did the right thing. Maybe the world didn't clap for you today, but heaven did. God saw what you did." She nodded slowly, though no one could see. They said goodbye. She sat back again, eyes closed. People would laugh at her if they heard this story. Some would say she was foolish. Others would say she should have minded her business. But she knew one thing. She didn't regret helping that woman, not even for a second. Still, she didn't know what to do now. Where to go? How to fix it? All she knew was that her dreams were on a plane without her, and she was stuck on the ground, alone. She spent the night in the airport. She didn't have money for a hotel. Her return ticket wasn't refundable, and the cheapest new flight to New York was over $400. She only had $90 left in her account, and that had to last her till next payday. So she stayed. She curled up on a cold metal bench using her coat as a pillow. The lights above were too bright, the floor was too hard, the air too cold. But the pain inside her was worse than all of that. She barely slept. All night, she kept thinking, what if she had walked past the old woman like everyone else? What if she had gotten on that plane? Would she be in a fancy hotel now? Would she be preparing for her big interview? Would her life be changing already? But with each what if came one strong thought. That old woman could have fallen badly. She could have broken a bone. She might have missed her own flight. She could have been stranded, scared, and alone. And if nobody had helped her, she couldn't live with that kind of guilt. So she closed her eyes and whispered, I did what was right. She repeated it to herself like a soft prayer. By morning, her back hurt, her feet were swollen, but she forced herself up, brushed her teeth in the bathroom, used a wet paper towel to wipe her face, tied her hair into a bun. She sat in the waiting area again, staring at nothing. Then she heard her name, not through a phone, not from a friend, but over the airport speaker. Passenger Amara Johnson, please report to the VIP terminal desk. She sat up slowly. Had she heard that right? Passenger Amara Johnson, it repeated. People looked around. Some stared at her. She stood, confused. Me? She picked up her suitcase and walked toward the VIP area. Her shoes made soft sounds on the tile floor as her heart thudded louder and louder in her chest. She had never even been near the VIP section before. When she reached the desk, a woman in a neat black uniform smiled at her. Good morning, Miss Johnson, the woman said warmly. We've been expecting you. Amara blinked. Expecting me? Who sent you? The woman didn't answer directly. She handed her a silver envelope with her name on it. Amara opened it slowly. Inside was a small note. You helped someone when no one else would. Now let us help you. Your ride is ready. She looked up. What ride? She asked, her voice shaking. The woman stepped aside and pointed to the glass doors. Outside, on the runway, was a sleek, white private jet. And printed in gold letters near the stairs was her name, Amara Johnson. Amara couldn't move. Her eyes were locked on the jet. Her legs felt like they were no longer hers. People turned to look. Some even pulled out their phones, snapping pictures. A few whispered, wondering who she was. She turned back to the woman behind the desk. I think there's a mistake, Amara said, her voice barely a whisper. That can't be for me. The woman smiled kindly. It's not a mistake, Miss Johnson. You were seen, and someone chose to reward your heart. Amara's lips trembled. Her hands were still holding the silver envelope. Who? She asked. The woman didn't say. She simply motioned toward the glass doors again. Your jet is waiting. Amara walked slowly toward the doors, still thinking she might wake up. That maybe this was all a dream from the metal bench she'd slept on. But the cool wind hit her face as soon as the door slid open, and the soft roar of the jet's engines told her this was real. A man in a suit stood at the bottom of the stairs, waiting. Good morning, Miss Johnson, he said with a bow. Your flight is ready when you are. She looked at him in disbelief. Who are you? She asked. I'm your pilot, he said simply. We're flying to New York. Amara gasped. Wait, New York? My interview? Yes. The company was contacted. Your interview has been rescheduled. You'll arrive in time. Tears filled her eyes. She covered her mouth, shaking. Who did this? She asked again. He looked at her, smiled, and said, Someone who saw what you did yesterday. He didn't say more. Amara took a deep breath and slowly walked up the stairs. Her heart raced. Her chest felt tight. When she stepped inside the jet, she gasped again. White leather seats, gold trim, fresh flowers, a tray of fruits and pastries, a folded card sat on one seat. She picked it up. This world needs more people like you. Never stop being kind. She didn't know who M was. She might never find out. But in that moment, it didn't matter. All that mattered was that someone had noticed. Someone had cared. Her kindness had not gone to waste. Amara sat down in the seat, fastened her belt, and closed her eyes. For the first time in a long time, she smiled. The engines roared louder. The wheels began to roll. This time, she wasn't watching a plane leave without her. This time, she was flying. And this time, her name was written on it. As the jet lifted into the sky, Amara sat quietly by the window, watching the clouds float beneath her. Her heart still couldn't catch up with what had happened. Just yesterday, she had been crying on a metal bench, thinking her future was over. Now, she was sipping fresh orange juice on a private jet. Her phone buzzed. A message popped up from an unknown number. "We believe in people like you. Let this open doors for you." That name again, M. She stared at the screen for a long time, then slowly put the phone down. She didn't need to know who it was. Not right now. What mattered was that someone out there saw her. The jet touched down in New York smoothly. A black car was already waiting on the runway. The driver, wearing white gloves, opened the door for her and greeted her by name. She was driven straight to a tall glass building with spinning doors and golden lights. The same company she thought she had lost forever. This time, they welcomed her like she was someone important. She was offered water, then coffee, then lunch. They even apologized for not waiting the day before. "We heard the full story," one of the interviewers said. "And to be honest, we're honored to meet someone like you." Amara tried not to cry again. She told them the truth. Everything. What she'd gone through, what she'd dreamed of, why the job meant so much to her. They listened. They smiled. They took notes. And at the end of the day, one of them stood up, shook her hand, and said, "Welcome to the team, Amara." Her breath caught in her chest. She got the job. She stepped out of the building in a daze. The sun was setting. The wind was cool. She had no idea what tomorrow would bring. But today had taught her something big. That kindness never goes unseen. That the right thing, even when it costs you everything, somehow, someway, finds its way back to you. As she walked through the city, her phone buzzed again. Another message from M. "You didn't lose anything yesterday. You just gave the universe a reason to trust you with more." Amara stopped walking. She looked up at the sky, her heart full. She smiled. Then she whispered, "Thank you." That night, Amara stayed in a 5-star hotel, booked in her name, paid for in full. She walked into the room and gasped. A giant bed with soft white sheets, a balcony that showed the city lights, a marble bathroom with a tub big enough to swim in. On the table was a tray of her favorite foods, jollof rice, grilled chicken, fresh plantains. Next to it sat another envelope. No name this time. Just one word written in gold letters. Faith. She opened it with shaking hands. Inside was another short note. "You were never unlucky. You were just being prepared. Now, walk in your purpose." Tears rolled down her cheeks. Amara didn't feel lost anymore. She didn't feel behind. She felt chosen. She sat on the edge of the bed and let the moment sink in. Her whole life, she had struggled. She had been told she was too quiet, too soft, too ordinary. She had been overlooked, stepped on, passed by. But now she understood something. Her softness wasn't weakness. It was power. Her heart wasn't too big. It was her gift. Helping that old woman wasn't just a moment of kindness. It was a doorway. And she had walked through it. Now everything felt different. She saw her reflection in the mirror across the room. Same face, same skin, same tired eyes. But now there was something new. Peace. She climbed into bed and lay down slowly, still wearing her clothes. She stared at the ceiling. Then she whispered, "I'm ready now. Ready to stop shrinking. Ready to rise. Ready to believe again." Somewhere in the city, someone named M read her message of thanks and smiled. The next morning, sunlight poured through the large windows. Amara opened her eyes slowly, feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Rested. Safe. For a few seconds, she forgot where she was. Then she remembered everything. The missed flight. The old woman. The private jet. The interview. The job offer. Her hand flew to her chest. It was all real. She got out of bed, walked barefoot to the balcony, and looked out at the city. The world looked so big, so full of possibilities. She checked her phone. No new messages from M. But that was okay. She didn't need more signs. She had already received everything she needed. Just then, her phone rang. It was the company. They wanted to fly her back to finalize paperwork. She was being offered a relocation package, a new apartment, a chance to start her life fresh in New York. All expenses paid. Amara sat down slowly. They were offering her more than a job. They were offering her a life. She thought about calling her mom right away, but stopped. Instead, she took a moment for herself. She walked to the bathroom, ran warm water into the giant tub. She lit a candle the hotel had left by the sink. Then she sat in the water and closed her eyes. She didn't cry this time. She just breathed. For the first time in forever, Amara didn't feel like she was chasing life. Life had come to her. Later that day, she checked out of the hotel. A driver picked her up again. On the way to the airport, they passed by a quiet park. Amara looked out the window, and there she was, the old woman, sitting on a bench, feeding birds, alone, peaceful. Amara asked the driver to stop. She got out of the car and walked over. The woman looked up. Her face lit up with recognition. "My angel," she said. Amara knelt beside her and smiled. "I wanted to thank you," the old woman said, holding her hand. "You didn't just help me. You helped yourself. You just didn't know it then." Amara blinked. "What do you mean?" The woman didn't answer. She only said, "Be kind, even when no one's watching, because someone always is." Amara hugged her gently. As the plane soared back toward New York, Amara looked out the window one last time. The sky was wide and clear. The sun lit up the clouds like gold. She thought about everything that had happened, all the pain, all the delays, all the silent nights. She wondered if she was enough. She had spent so much of her life giving time, giving love, giving help, and wondering if it ever mattered. Now she knew. Kindness has a ripple. It travels. It reaches places you cannot see. And one day it comes back, bigger, louder, stronger. Amara didn't become famous. She didn't win a prize. She did something simple. She helped someone. And that changed everything. It wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was heart. And in a world that moves too fast, where people often look away, Amara stopped. She saw someone. And because she saw someone, someone saw her. That's the truth we often forget. Doing the right thing may cost you now, but it rewards you later. Maybe not when you expect. Maybe not in the way you planned. But it finds you. Always. So to anyone listening, here's the message. Be kind when it's hard. Be good when no one's clapping. Be light when the world feels dark, because someone somewhere is watching. And when your moment comes, you'll know you didn't lose. You didn't fall behind. You were just being prepared for something greater. Just like Amara.